How many Su-57s will be put into service this year, when the VKS will have a full-fledged combat unit of these 5th-generation machines? About this right after we will tell you about the budget masterpieces from the developers from Kalana and Dubna, Product 305 and Product 720, which will radically change the functionality of our strike aircraft. The missiles of Item 305 or Elmer are once again the hero of military roles on an almost daily basis. For a while it seemed that this shot-and-forget ammunition was beyond the capacity of the wartime defense complex, but the problem was different. Now Elmer is integrated with the best Russian helicopter K-52M, and the possibility of mounting on the K-52 and Mi-28NM up to 8 launchers of these extremely accurate missiles, the warhead of which is about 25 kilograms, at least 3 times larger than our wonderful, very, and popular in the world American, Hellfire. It is superfluous to talk about accuracy, because it can be seen, as it is called, with your own eyes. The missile itself willingly makes a movie about how it can fly into a window or hit enemy equipment, hitting directly into the hatch. The issue of the supply of these missiles also seems to have been finally resolved. One famous Russian K-52 pilot hinted that Item 305 has been coming to units in industrial quantities as of late. It is pleasing at least by the fact that in just 3 years, the Russian Army Aviation received the latest system, covering similar Western developments in all parameters, and even in a time frame that fully meets the most urgent demands of the time. In August, the first production K-52 with 4 Elmer missile launchers appeared. Its range is more than 14 kilometers, the warhead is 25 kilograms, accuracy is Joule-like. And here we can note the titanic work of designers and engineers from Kolomna near Moscow. In just a year, they have brought an excellent design to an acceptable price-quality fork. The cost of Elmer fell by almost 1.5 times, which made even the skeptics from among the command to treat the product that won the sympathy of pilots with much greater approval. Also worth noting is the work to integrate the lightweight multipurpose guided missile on all types of domestic attack helicopters, including Alligators and the modernized Mi-35 Crocodile, as well as the Su-25 Grach attack aircraft. This August, Elmer began testing bundles with the new Sirius Heavy twin-engine drone. And she has demonstrated some good results. With its introduction, it will be possible to solve such a serious problem as poor protection of heavy slow-moving drones from short and medium-range air defense systems. The same radical transformation was required for the high-precision arsenal of Russian frontline aviation. The X-59 Gadfly missile, adopted for service in 1975, had a good design reserve and was repeatedly modernized. But the most modern modifications of the Kh-59 Mk2 cost slightly less than strategic air-to-surface cruise missiles like the Kh-555 and Kh-101. As you know, we do not print dollars, and any appreciation of the project seriously threatened its very existence, and even more so the mass series. In addition, it required a modular layout and the ability to incorporate different types of homing heads and improved stealth capabilities into the warhead. All of this was realized in the X-69 stealth missile, but the question remained about price. The Kh-69 missile is certainly a new achievement by the developers of our tactical weapons. To the credit of our developers and, in particular, the main manufacturer of the X-series air-to-surface missiles, the Alexander Berezniak State Design Bureau Radiga, they reacted quickly and decisively to the events of the last year and a half. The niches in strike aircraft armament that were unfilled in the spring of 2022 are now being closed by advanced missile designs we never heard of a year ago. The 720 product first made headlines earlier this year during Dmitry Medvedev's visit to the company in Dubna near Moscow. And already in August, according to Western experts, it had its first experimental combat use. This missile can be used not only from the Su-34 and Su-24M, but also from all new Russian fighters, including the stealth Su-57, which will be discussed below. Judging by the delayed reaction of the air defense, and therefore all of NATO's powerful electronic intelligence, each of her arrivals is an extremely unpleasant surprise for the enemy. The accuracy of the missile compared to the upgraded Kh-59 slightly decreased, but this 1.5 to 2 meters in the air defense characteristics, nothing compared to the ability to produce such products on a mass scale. And now we seem to have it. It has a range of about 300 kilometers and a warhead of 310 kilograms, in such dimensions is not outstanding for this type of missile. Its advantage is its versatility and readiness for mass production in a large number of units at the expense of reasonable price and consistently high quality. The photo is 720 product footage from the RC1 channel. And now about how many Su-57s will be put into service this year, when the Air Force will have a full-fledged combat unit of these 5th-generation machines. For the first time this year, the fighter units of the All-Union Air Force received an addition in the form of the Su-57 fifth-generation fighter. By the end of the year, they will have 6 more planes now in high readiness, and not just those. The military space forces recently received another batch of the latest Su-35S and Su-57 fighters of the 4th++ and 5th generation. No details of this transfer are reported, although it is taking place as planned, without delay and even ahead of schedule. Unlike the United States, where an airplane like the latest B-21 bomber, which has never been put into production or never taken off at all, can become the hero of a bright dazzling marketing show with lasers, we are used to what is called quietness and presenting information in small doses, as a fait accompli. There are both pros and cons to this approach, but as Americans, we cannot afford to pass off outright bullshit as a breakthrough and advanced military power. And so the present program was quiet and without pomp, and no specific figures were given that might shed light on the confidential aspects of the event. Let's turn to what Western observers think about it. Here's satellite imagery from this fall. One of the Su-57 combat-ready units at an airfield in southwestern Russia. At the beginning of the journey, our stealth was amicably poured with selected dirt, not giving it the right to be called a fifth-generation airplane. But fortunately their competencies don't extend beyond the cozy offices of media corporations. And when the Russian aircraft, invisible, actively began to take part in combat operations and very successfully, its critics switched from outright sarcasm to deafening grousing. Say, maybe the airplane isn't so bad, but the Russians won't be able to produce it. Now that situation has changed as well. Air and Space Forces magazine, the largest U.S. online aviation portal, estimates the number of Su-57s transferred in September 2023 at 4 to 6 units. Another American publication, which is often accused of projecting Russian propaganda, Military Watch magazine, claims to have handed over 6 copies. Both magazines agree that 6 more machines will be handed over by the end of the year, according to plans, and Russia will finally have a full-blooded squadron of 5th-generation stealth aircraft. It will be the most powerful grouping of such fighters in Eastern Europe. Thanks to its excellent situational awareness, it is also capable of flying a swarm of earlier Su-35 and Su-30SM-2 fighters and C-70 Hunter heavy attack drones. There's good news here, too, by the way. The Hunters have already been spotted several times in hotspots this summer and have their first strikes credited to them. What is interesting is that these attack drones were detected only visually, and who was flying them. Given that they were created to work with the Su-57, no one knows, but it is easy enough to guess. In December this year, the management of the Chkalov-Novosibirsk aviation plant promises to show the first serial batch. So it's 1-to-1. That's the photo of the Su-57 rearward-facing heroes and the C-70 Hunter. They have been tested together for 3 years and in recent months have made the progress necessary to begin mass production. At the last handover, foreign observers estimated the number of operational Russian 5th-generation fighters at 10. For example, this summer Maxar Technologies satellite images detected 5 Su-57s at one of the southern airfields of the European part of Russia. It was a big deal for Maxar specialists to catch them in the same place. As it turns out, NATO spy planes can't detect our Sukhoi in the sky and don't even know approximately where they can be located at any given moment. The firm's analysts, in conjunction with various companies conducting so-called intelligence on open sources, claim that the Su-57s are not based at any one airfield all the time, but change locations. And at the same time, a countless number of times came into the sight of military and commercial satellites, whose activities are now well coordinated and monitored by various secret services. But Russian stealth is stealthy enough to fool this all-seeing eye from time to time and, unlike most of our aircraft, have a decent freedom of maneuver. Here is a photo of 5 Su-57s in the Astrakhan region this summer. According to L&AMP, Space Forces magazine, they are constantly busy with combat work and changing deployments, so getting a shot like this is a big deal. Today, the Su-57 is believed to have 4 proven hits on enemy aircraft. Rather, this number is an underestimate because we are talking about very long-range strikes, where objective controls do not actually work. It was created for the speedy conquest of the sky, and not only to clear the sky of enemy aircraft, but also to fight the best air defense systems of the enemy. The last Maxar photo in mid-September recorded 4 fully combat-ready Russian stealths at one of the airfields. From this, the West concludes that the planes split into 2 groups to operate on all directions. And the new DSA transfer will noticeably strengthen these already working air hostages. And by the way, before going into large series, the Su-57 became a hero of a Hollywood movie. Negative, of course, but it's also a kind of recognition of his capabilities. Friends, subscribe to our blog on Sponsor or Boost. By doing so you will tangibly help us in our work. All the videos there are released in early access before being published on YouTube. Also, there are videos coming out there that will never appear on this channel, due to the fact that they will simply be deleted by this video hosting service. With this subscription you will support our work and we can continue to make videos. The links are in the description.